Are you ready for a bold conversation about identity, impact, and becoming more of who you really are? In today's episode of the Bold and Brilliant podcast, I sit down with Jen Vertanen, founder of We The Unruly, a community and movement for impact makers who are done with performative perfection and ready to lead with truth. Jen shares the pivotal, deeply vulnerable decision that changed everything, one that required her to admit she was headed down the wrong path, choose courage over ego, and begin a decade-long journey of healing and identity work. You'll hear how redefining strength, finding the right support, and creating powerful mirrors in community can help you remember who you are, especially when self-doubt creeps in. If you're building a mission-driven business or life, and you're craving deeper alignment, clearer self-trust, and a way forward that actually feels like you, this episode is going to land in all the right places. Welcome to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. Jen, I'm probably way too excited to welcome you to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you're more excited than I am, though.
Okay. Well, we'll just kind of both sit here in that excitement moment. I have to say that for those of you who are watching on YouTube, don't we just love Jen's fresh, self of the pink, but with the sweater especially. I am such a fan of your style. It's so fun.
Thank you.
It's fun to observe as someone who's been pink and does also the bold persona that to see other people show up that way. It's like, oh yeah, people might get a little bit of that from me too. So that's fun.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, Jen. Well, we have been talking about doing this for a while and we've been in each other's universes probably for the last year-ish, I would say.
Yeah.
Something like that. And hadn't met in person until earlier this year.
Yep,
But
October.
online, I've been a part of you kind of creating this new We The Unruly community philosophy, the way of being in the world that helps everyone recognize that there's no box that we all have to fit in. We don't have to not only not fit in a box, but there's no box. Forget it.
And for those listening in, sometimes those who don't think they live in boxes need reminders, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I say that I need it just as much as anyone else.
Well, and that's why we create what we create, right? Is so that we not only get the thing that we need, but after thinking about what we need, bringing that to other people to help them realize that it's okay to need this thing and join the other people who also need it. And now we're all together.
Absolutely.
We get to have a party.
Yep.
So, and even though you've been creating all of this year, you have been an entrepreneur for a while. How long?
14 years, but
14 years.
Let's say entrepreneur-ish for 14 years.
So you've had a thing of your own.
Yes, that is correct.
For about 14 years, which is about the same as me. I'm at 13 and a half years. So we're in a similar vein. But the difference is you still work in the real world of the corporate situations. And
I do.
And I departed, probably not advisably so, when I started as well. But so let's talk a little bit about you and what you do outside of Jen Vertanen, amazing coach, We The Unruly situation that got you to deciding to make that this community that you now have. So tell us your origin story. What's the other part of you that we might not see every day? And how'd you get here?
Oh goodness. Well, there's the corporate side of me, and I'm an odd duck in that I love my day job. And you don't hear people say that a lot, which makes my heart hurt.
Well, it makes me happy for you.
Well, happy for me. Yeah, absolutely. But I think of it as I have a unicorn role in a unicorn leadership team, a unicorn company, just everything aligned. That's why I love it. But I'm chief of staff of the coolest health tech startup. And what that means is, I herd cats. They're wily, unruly cats, if you will. But I love them so much. But
how big is the staff that you're herding?
Well, I mean, so I'm not over all the staff, and I'm not over anyone, actually. I get to play Switzerland. So it's a small company. But what I want to share is that is from 3+ decades in IT software development, specifically project management. So I tried to be a developer for a little bit, and then, I wasn't very good at that. So I moved into business analysis and then project management
Yeah.
and on up and what have you.
Honestly, this is why we get along so well. I
Yeah,
always get along with the IT project managers
I was
because
gonna
I was
say
the
because
facilities project manager.
right.
We had to
Yeah.
work together, right?
Yep.
Okay, so keep going. That's amazing.
Yeah, but in 2011, I left my then job, and I was like, I'm not working for the man, and blah blah blah, all this false bravado and confidence. And my mom, funnily enough, she was really embarrassed that I was leaving. And
Mm,
she told my former classmates that I had retired. And I didn't learn about that till years later. I'm like,
okay.
Mom. She's like, well, I didn't know what to tell people. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, okay. So I left the
She
job,
was
the corporate,
embarrassed because you chose to leave,
yes,
like
a
unadvisedly
cushy,
so, probably.
yes,
Yes.
exactly,
That.
exactly. But anyway, I was moving into, I'd learned about coaching and I thought, well, I coach and mentor in my day job, so
Right.
let's try that out, right? But what happened is I slipped into a very one of probably my deepest depressions that I've ever had, and it lasted for a number of months. And so even though and this is why I say false bravado, right? On the outside, I looked like, yeah, I've got this, blah, 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 blah. People are excited for me. I needed the time and space to have what I now is probably a nervous
A
breakdown
little bit
at
of
the time.
breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah. But that set me on the path of exploring coaching and doing it from my own business. And the deeper I got into it, the more I loved it. And the part of, I say entrepreneurial-ish is that I had the belief that this was something I could absolutely do and do from a sustainable business perspective. But what I hadn't realized, and of course, hindsight is such a gift, what I hadn't realized is I had so much trauma and wounds from childhood, from, young adulthood, that I needed to work on that. I needed to do the inner work first before I was really ready to leap into what people see now, which is, strategic CEO of my business, making big, bold moves, rubbing elbows with all the cool people and all of that. But it was not an overnight success. Let's say that.
I think that is not uncommon, right? Like
Yeah.
we have that drive to do something for ourselves, for our own, to kind of be in charge of our own future,
Yep.
and maybe it's a Gen X thing, right? Also that we want to
We're
be in
feral to begin with.
we want to be in charge of our shit, right?
Yeah.
So, and then to just stand up and go, okay, well, I can do that,
Hmm.
and go do it
Yeah.
without really being prepared,
Right.
like with the details of the business, but also on
Yeah.
the side.
I call it emotional maturity.
Too bad we were 40 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you started coaching, but you
Hmm.
also found a new position.
I did. After 15 months of not working for the man, some stuff was going on with my youngest, and we decided to move her into private school education. And I was not bringing in near enough to be able to support that. And it really was the right thing for our family to do. And so I went back into the workforce, but I went in with a new set of boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
and this it wasn't intentional. It's like I inherently knew, but a new set of boundaries and a new what type of environment am I willing to work with? What type of, manager am I willing to work with? What am I not? Right. And, being in IT at that time, it was, a privilege to be able to have that, be able to leave something if it wasn't working for me. And I want to acknowledge not everyone has that. Now, I would say IT these days is very different, but back in those days, you didn't have to worry about landing a new gig like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially with the kind of experience that you had in your
Hmm.
pocket and the years of, being able
Exactly.
to what you were bringing to the
The
table.
relationships I had built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then so okay, so you decided, so you got this new position, you were able to send your child to the
Yep.
school that you needed to do, and then there was some more family things that really became an upheaval moment.
Yeah.
Again, potentially didn't, yes, did. Tell us a little bit about, because for everyone that's on the podcast, I want to know, like, we all make decisions
Mhm.
all the time that, especially in hindsight, as you've been talking about, we can see how our track shifted at that
Mhm.
moment with that decision. And so
Yeah.
that was a big decision to take that job in
Mhm.
order to do what you needed to do for your child and for your family. Tell us more.
Yeah. So 2015, things really came to a head for me personally. And I was 45 at the time. And I had not dealt with the inner stuff from, like I said, the trauma, the wounds, what have you, all the, hmm, not to get, I mean, I will go into it. Absolutely. I'm an
Right.
open
How much
book,
time do we
but
want to take, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But suffice it to say, I was raised, being told I wasn't a very good person. Just, it was death by a thousand paper cuts, right? And it's heartbreaking, but it's also not an uncommon story,
Yeah.
right? Unfortunately, but it was death by a thousand paper cuts. And I always took on the role of I'm the warrior. I'm here to protect my mom, my brother. And it's just all it did was built up all these walls and, over the years. And it's that outside looking in, it looks good, right? The inner, my inner, painted a very different picture that was angry, resentful, bitter, heart aching loneliness. I did not like myself. I did not like my life. I had so much. When I looked at my family, I loved my husband, but he almost became the effigy, if you will, of it's like he wasn't fixing for me what I needed,
Yeah.
what I needed him.
So now he's the wrong one.
He's in the wrong. And so the up until that point, I had done all sorts of things to, healthy and unhealthy to try to fix myself, my life. And he was the one thing that I hadn't tried yet, and that was to leave him. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I got pregnant at 19. So at that point, I'd been raising babies for, 25 years. I had my first at 20, and I was 45. And it felt like the last thing I could try to fix myself and give myself that freedom I craved, right? Like I can just not have to worry about anyone. I'll get my kids part of the time. I won't have a spouse, all of
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah. On
again,
paper, it seems like
yeah,
an
yeah. It was like,
answer that could
no
work.
duh. Yeah. And what I get in hindsight, this is how bad it was, is I was telling people I love him, but maybe when we're in our 70s we can remarry again. I would find articles like stories of people who had actually done that, right?
Mm.
And I'd present them
You're
to
like,
him and he's
see?
yeah, like, see, people have made this work. And he was like, that's not what I want, Jen. That's not what I want. I love you, but if we're going to be together, we're going to be together, or I'm going to move on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I had this decision that I'd made. And again, this false bravado and confidence. But this was my persona. This is what I was used to, right? I was the one who made big, bold moves, decisions, all of that. I
I'm just
even
gonna do it.
just gonna do it.
Yeah.
I even had an apartment that I had paid a couple of months rent on, and I wasn't living there yet, but I was starting to furnish it.
Mm.
So the day we told our daughter, who was 11 at the time, she was the last kiddo at home. It was a very hard day, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Um, and that night I went to bed and it was just over and over and over again. Well, I tried to go to bed, but over and over, it was like, you don't want this. You don't want this. You're making a mistake. Right. And the plan was that next day I was actually going to move into the apartment. But all of that night, over and over, that's all I heard. You're making a big mistake. So my husband woke up the next morning and I shared with him. And that was so incredibly difficult because that was a level of vulnerability.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah, where you admitted that you
Yeah.
were rethinking your decision that
Yeah.
you had made.
Yeah. Sorry,
Wow.
I gotta wipe my nose a little bit. It's chilly here in Minnesota. But it was, and to show I felt like the weakest person. But it's like I had to do this for myself because I realized I was making such a big mistake. I, it was so bad inside my head that I was willing to walk away from the person who had only ever had my back, who had only ever loved me. Like he was the person who loved me no matter what,
Yeah.
who
And
saw
so,
through the stories, who saw through the things I did and, the behavior. Because again, I was kind of this tough exterior of a shell. And he saw the potential in me and loved me no matter what.
mm,
So
that's so wonderful.
thank you.
It's such a
Thank
great
you.
story. And so, like, you thought that making a change with him was going to fix
Yeah.
the
I'll have the
situation, whatever's
freedom.
going on in here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And to admit that to his face
Yeah.
after all the discussions that you'd already had, that's so brave and
Mm,
amazing. And so, like, what was the next step? Like, because
yeah.
this is a big fork in the road. You were
That was
about
a
to
big,
move out and you
yeah.
didn't move out.
Yeah.
And, did he know that you were paying for that apartment? Well,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yep. Uh, yeah,
What happened next?
it was hard to tell him. That was definitely a brave moment. But getting myself to admit to myself
Yeah.
that I was making a mistake, that
Yeah.
was even
Yeah. Of
harder,
course. Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah. So the next step is we said, okay, before we tell our daughter and, the other kiddos, the ones who are out of the house, we're going to take a week. We want to make sure this isn't like a knee jerk, emotional, but you don't really mean
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what we did. And we talked a lot, right? And we agreed that we're going to go to marriage counseling just to learn how to communicate with each other again, right? And so that is what we did. And he said, if we stay together, you are promising you will not do this again. And I made that promise. But also what I was going through was the guilt of telling our family, right? Our young daughter at home and the two older kiddos and our friends and our extended family. I had put people through this. And so I carried a lot of guilt around that. Of course, that I had to untangle and unwind and make peace with that and what have you. Yeah, 2015 was, I started the year. I knew that I was planning on divorcing, and I started the year. I all my passwords was 2015 is my year, and it did become my year, but in very different ways.
Yeah. That's wild. So in telling the family and the extended family and the
hmm
friend, and you had that decision to make the vulnerable admission to your husband
Yeah,
that you knew that you were wrong.
yeah,
And now you had to tell everyone else that you were wrong.
yeah. Oh,
You told the
Tracie.
entire planet of your world that you were wrong. When,
That
like, had
was
that ever
so
happened before?
hard. No, not like that. I mean,
Right?
even when I got pregnant at 19,
You're
I
like,
try,
yeah, it was
you know,
planned.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was an interesting time, and there was a lot of what I didn't realize. So I did not grow up in what I'd call a safe family, right? For all sorts of reasons. But when I became a mom, it was very important to me that I did not bring,
Right.
those things forward, right? And so my daughter, the only world she ever knew was her mom and dad and her brothers and such safety,
Yeah.
right? That's all she knew. And I was going to rip that out from her, underneath her,
Yeah.
because I wasn't thinking about it from her perspective.
Yeah.
And so then it's the guilt over being selfish,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
All of that.
Yeah. And with her being 11,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
still very
Very
young,
formative
very like
years.
hard to understand adult things, even though they think that they're
Absolutely.
20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So, okay. So you said 2015 is going to be your year. and it
Yep.
became your year.
It did.
How so? Like
Ooh,
what happened next?
yeah. So we decided our middle one had graduated high school and we decided we were going to move and we wanted to move into the city. And the house we bought that we're still in now, it has these, it's a 1905 Victorian four square,
Fun.
but it has beautiful
Love it.
hardwood and
Yeah.
it has these creaky wood floors. Okay. And the realtor was like, oh, and I'm like, no, I actually love these because it brought me back to feel of when I did feel safe in
Mm-hmm.
my childhood. And that was at my great grandmother's house. She
Oh.
had creaky wood floors. And so I like to think of this house as it is the home that held me as I was healing. And
Mm-hmm.
now I know exactly what home feels like. Oh,
Mm.
this gets me a little,
That's so
I
beautiful.
know what home feels like. So wherever I go from now on, it doesn't matter the place. I know the feeling of home. And yeah, that gets me a little emotional.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you moved into this new house, you
Oh,
moved into
yes.
the city.
Yep, yep. And it's I like to say it was 10 years of identity work
Yeah.
of, I don't like who I've been. I don't really know who I am. And this goes a little bit to my human design, FYI, that the not know it, but I didn't know that at the time.
Which is what?
Well, I'm a 6-2 manifesting generator, but the
Okay.
only center I have undefined is I think it's the G. It's your identity center. And so it's like, oh, no wonder I
I don't
struggled
know
with.
enough to really even
Yeah,
know what you're
yeah, yeah.
talking about, but now it's documented, and when I
Yep, there
learn,
we
I will
go.
know.
There we go. Um, but it was like, I don't like who I've been. I don't know who I am. And so the question became, who do I want to be? And my work has been, for myself, has been becoming that
Yeah.
person. So
Mhm.
2015 it literally was the start of that. And some people might be listening and be like, oh my gosh, a decade. My argument is I get to have this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, why would I not? If I had set out and made this into a SMART goal and tried to assign a time to it, and if a year went by and I wasn't, and I'd give it up, I'm like, no, I get to have this the rest of my life.
Identity work isn't, it's always evolving. So there's nothing
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
put a time frame to, I'm going to, go through this process for this next
Right.
year, but ultimately it's the kind of thing where you say, and we'll see where we are then,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe go
Well,
on from there,
and
because you
Tracie,
can't.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you know why I have pink hair.
No, tell me.
Okay. So when I
Because
had this vision,
when did you start?
well, it was a couple years ago,
Okay.
but if we go back to
Yeah.
2015 and I saw these two paths of this bitter, old, resentful, angry woman that no one wanted to come to my funeral. My children didn't want to, and
Mm.
that felt like a very real path that I was headed down. And then I saw the other side of what like people would see in me, right? Funny, you know, sparkle in my eye, like all of those
Yep.
things. And I'm like, that's who I want to be more of, right? My 80-year-old self who's like getting into all sorts of shenanigans. So
Yep.
anyway, fast forward a few years and I'm on Pinterest. And I love photos of beautiful older women. I love that, like, I just love it. And I saw this woman with pink hair in her 80s. And I'm like, oh, I want pink hair in my 80s. And then I was like, oh, wait, why can't, 52-year-old Jen have pink hair? And so that's how the pink hair came to be.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing. And that's it's a similar story, right? When I
Hmm.
was in, I actually started with teal and
Okay.
through all of the different colors. But I also started small because I saw someone on stage
Mm,
speaking at an event that I was at with full
yeah.
mermaid
Ooh,
situation.
I
And I was
love
just,
mermaid
and she was
hair.
like a former like military, I don't know if she was a Marine or what she was, but she was badass, so
Yeah.
cool, great on stage, like really inspirational. And I was just like, that's awesome.
That is, yeah.
And I want some. And that's when I started doing my hair. But
Yeah.
for me, it's been 10 years
Okay.
of their variety until I decided to
Yeah.
be curly. And then I'll let the curls do their talking.
I love your curly hair.
Thank you. Thank you.
The reason I have a vintage motorcycle jacket from the early 80s is because I saw a photo of, again, this older woman, probably in her 70s, 80s. And I'm like, I want a vintage leather jacket.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of the external, but it's all a reflection of the internal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, we say, and that's, I got asked a lot, like, why do you have purple hair, pink hair, whatever color it
Yeah.
was at the time? And it's like, yeah, part of it is I enjoy being the center of attention, honestly,
Yeah.
like, being
Yeah.
on stage and being a performer and all those things. And it's like it's the bold self, like
Mm-hmm.
growing out of your hair follicles. Like
Yeah.
it's seeping through your pores
Yeah.
to become and to show like who you are on the inside, on the outside, even though it's an
Right.
external application, because
Right.
unfortunately we weren't actually born with the colors in our
Right.
hair. I was born
Okay,
with the curl.
Tracie.
I know, but I was born with the curls. So,
I love that. I love that.
but
But
yeah,
I used to have a
it's
very
really about who
gray,
you are, not that you're
yeah,
trying to show off, but that it's just helps
right.
you feel more you and remind you that
Yeah.
you're.
Recently I asked my uncle at Thanksgiving, what was I like as a little kid, like at 5? Because I don't remember. He's like, you were very giggly and playful. And that was such a gift to hear that 50 years later, because that's like the inner kiddo has
Yep.
come out because
Mm-hmm.
she is healed enough.
Yay. Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So that's amazing. I love all of this story.
Mm.
And so you're working in your job, you're
It's
got
a
the new
lot,
house.
Tracie.
It's a lot, right? You're working in that regular job. You're still coaching. You got the new house. This is
Yep.
10 years ago. When did the idea of creating We The Unruly begin? And like,
Yeah.
tell us about that journey.
Yeah. So I've always known there was this umbrella that I wanted my work to fit under. I didn't want to be Coach Jen. I wanted this umbrella, but I didn't have
Mhm.
words for it, right? But I knew it was there. So April 15th, 2025, my 55th birthday, I sit with myself and I'm like, where am I not giving, like, what do I really, really, really want? And I've asked myself that before. I love that question. And this time the answer finally came for the umbrella. And it's been magical ever since. And it's a lot of work, especially with day job, bringing this umbrella of an idea, a concept. I call it a movement, all of the things. It's a labor of love, and I am just having the time of my life. But that's when it came to me.
I love that. And it's like the, it's when the blur becomes more clear,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You have this idea that becomes I don't want to say like an idea, a vision that becomes a plan, that becomes an action, because that's way too structured for
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah,
unruly process. But it's there somewhere. It's there in that it's
yeah,
big idea and it's getting clearer and clearer. And now you find the words to speak to it and
yeah.
you find the imagery. My gosh, your imagery, my girl, it's the best. Like
Well,
that is, I have to say, that is what I really have been in watching you
yeah,
and all of this unfold this
yeah.
last 6 months, 8 months, whatever it's been. Um, it's so fun as someone who's in business also to
Hmm.
see the clarity of brand
Yeah.
and how you show that to the world. And it's so good. Like it's
Thank
just, yeah,
you.
it's really,
Thank
really great.
you.
It's inspiring not only to the people who are in your community who feel that
Hmm.
they align with the idea of being unruly, but
Yeah.
also to anyone else who has a business who can say, wow, this like brand
Hmm.
really knows who they are and knows how
Hmm.
to speak to their client. And this is such an important business skill, right? And not everyone has that. The marketing is so natural for you.
Well, but again, what was behind that was 14 years and
Yeah.
10 years of intense identity work.
Yeah.
That's what's behind that.
That's
And
fantastic.
that's, identity work has always been a piece of my work. But it's like now that I'm on the other side of all that and the things are coming a lot more easily and all of that, I'm like, that is a key fundamental foundational element for folks that really want to embody their business and what they're about.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that there's because it's everyone, I don't want to say everyone's in like
Yeah.
two camps, but those of us, especially in the coaching world where we are our business, we
Hmm.
need to know who we
Yeah.
are in
Yeah.
order to show up like that, as that
Yeah.
for our clients and in our business
Yeah. That
branding
level
and
of
everything.
clarity,
Yeah.
power, influence. Absolutely.
And then you have folks who like they made a company and that company is this, but it's not them.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like stuff or like
Hmm.
things, but it's not attached to their personal self. And
Yeah.
it's not the same. And I'm not saying that
Yeah.
they can't also be successful because that's a, like just a
Absolutely.
different category of business in a
Yeah.
sense, right?
But I know of a lot of coaches who haven't done that level of identity work
Yeah.
yet, and they really want the business. They're doing all the things and things aren't clicking and they're frustrated and all of that, right? And I just what I think of is all the impacts left on the table because people don't do the work,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And, I call it unruly with purpose. Like my work is for impact makers, people who create belonging for others, founders, visionaries, thought leaders, artists, healers, coaches, like all of that, right? And it's people that are mission driven and, unruly is fun, but it's with a purpose.
Yeah. And at the same time, a little irreverent
Oh,
or a
absolutely.
lot irreverent.
Yeah,
But,
it's
but like
totally
purpose and
cheeky.
irreverence
Hmm.
are living in the same space.
Because that's me.
Yeah. Right.
That's me.
And I think that the folks who haven't figured that out for themselves yet are kind of maybe doing what they've been told or what they
Yeah.
see in others and they're emulating others
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
haven't figured out their own. And that's like if that I think that's like the lesson for this episode is
Yeah.
if you aren't feeling totally aligned with what you're doing,
Yeah.
then change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe it also includes changing yourself, not
Doing the
changing
inner
yourself,
work,
but understanding yourself.
understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Not
and
changing. Yeah. I don't mean change yourself, like change who you are, but like change your
yeah,
relationship to yourself.
your relationship to yourself. And this is why I love disco balls
I love
because
disco
it's
balls too.
all these mirrors, right? And we
I have a little
need,
one. I have a
oh,
little
I
one
love
right
that.
here.
Yeah. We need mirrors. And we
Mhm.
need to be mirrors for others, right? And the other day, I had people mirror something back to me where I was fitting myself into a box that does not fit me. But
Mhm.
sometimes we don't see those things. And so how can we be mirrors for each other and help each other remember who the hell you are,
Yep.
right? And I need it, like I said, just and I'm so grateful that they're, gently pointed out like, hey, that kind of doesn't fit within your unruly. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Why am I doing
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Well, and the idea, and that's why building a community underneath or around all of these
Hmm.
ideas and philosophies and self understandings is why that works so well because all of the people, like
Hmm.
not everyone's going to notice that, but someone
Hmm.
will, and that's like one of the mirrors on the ball. So I love the idea of the disco ball. This is new in my brain. The idea of the disco ball
Yeah.
emulating the community itself.
Ooh, yeah.
It's one of the mirrors.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
count how many mirrors are on that ball
Oh my
now.
gosh. No.
You could use a Sharpie and like dot them. I have a process for you. I have a very linear, straightforward process that you can
Okay.
follow.
Thanks, Tracy. I think I'm good. I
Because
have
look how
some,
many,
yeah.
and it might take a that kind of a level of impact and influence and
Hmm.
reach to get to all of the perspectives that help us all see all of
Absolutely.
ourselves.
I love that.
I love that too. It was really
You're
exciting.
brilliant.
Thank you. Well, it's because I'm talking to you. This is amazing. I want to ask you about how people can understand and get to know you and We the
Hmm.
Unruly better and
Yeah.
connect with you further. I know we'll put information in the show notes and that kind of
Yep.
thing, but let's hear it from you. Like you already said, all of the people and the healers and the coaches and the
Hmm.
change makers and all of the people that We the Unruly is for. What are you doing for all those people? And what are you all
Mm.
doing together? Is probably
Ooh,
the
that
better
is so
question.
good. So in community, what people are loving about the community, and these are all very intentional, is that I have you show up as peers. So often, you can look up to people, but we make people our guru, our teacher,
Yeah.
it's like, no, we're all peers. We each have our own thought leadership. We each need to take up the amount of space at the table that we need, right? But
Yeah.
also, there is a depth. Check your filters, check the performative nonsense at the door. We are here to be deep in community. And by that, I mean, we're not like, oh yeah, everything's fine. No, 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 no. It's like, no, we're being more raw and vulnerable. This is the place you come when you don't the strong women who need other strong women, right? Like these are the people that get it. These are the cycle breakers, the ones who've been underestimated, the too much, the not enough. Like we're going to bring all of that into the container, and people are loving the depth
Yeah.
that we go.
I
I don't
mean,
know
if
if,
you're going to start off this phase of life by telling everyone in your life that you were wrong, you better
yeah,
find a place to be able to keep talking about it because
yeah,
we're wrong all the time.
yeah, yeah. But just that place that you can be really honest with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and with others and be witnessed and supported. We do business strategy, we do identity work, we do holy rages, like, because sometimes rage is productive and, but it's like, what are you going to do about it now? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we helped with people make impacts. One of my favorite things we do, I call it the your name way trademark. So it would be finding the Tracie way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are fed personal development, productivity hacks, life hacks,
Yeah.
like,
Are
and
we doing it
those,
like that person or that person or that person
yeah.
or that
And
person?
those
What
things
about
aren't
me?
good, bad, right, or wrong, but you find your own silver bullet
Yeah.
when you figure out what works for you, right? When you have a discernment filter that you can put everything through and say, is this for me or is this not for me? Does this move me closer or does it move me further away?
Yeah.
So many people are outsourcing, and I understand it because I did it for so long. They're outsourcing their answers, right?
Mm,
Instead of like, taking learning and then applying it to yourself. It's
yeah.
outsourcing. Oh, this person told me to do this. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. So now I'm going to go to this person and they're going to tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. And that didn't work out. You're not spending the time, the energy, the resources finding your way.
Yeah.
And
That's like
that's the
the
work I love.
definition. It's like the definition of thought leadership, right? Like
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
thoughts are leading you
Yeah. Yeah.
to where you have decided that you actually want to go and not
Exactly. And
some
that is
other.
my thought leadership, is
Yeah.
helping others find that silver bullet
Yeah.
within
Beautiful.
themselves, right? Identity, courage, belief, like all of those things. And then from there, the actual creation of what you want, whether it's business, personal, like any of that, becomes so much easier and enjoyable.
Yeah. So good. So good.
Thank
So I
you.
was thinking, as I was saying that, or I was thinking, about the idea of mentorship and people
Yeah.
that are our mentors, whether we've ever met them or not, right?
Hmm.
Books that we've read, podcasters,
Yeah.
celebrities, whatever, they've done all the things or whatever. And we can take those pieces, but ultimately, like you said, if we don't
Yeah.
put those
You
through
have
the
to
filter of, is it
integrate.
actually for me or is it just
Yeah.
pretty, shiny,
Yeah. And
successful over there?
and like personal development, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong, but we would not have what is it, like an 8 billion a year industry if what was out there was working for folks.
Yeah.
We wouldn't,
Yeah.
right?
Because people are always still looking for more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're intaking all these inputs because the work is can feel hard. It can feel scary. It can feel, and like human beings, we are not wired for that.
Yeah.
But that is
That's,
the work.
that's
And
why I
that's why,
love,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say that's why I love coaching because I feel
Hmm.
like you have to be like one-on-one or in small groups to
Hmm.
really get to that place where
Yeah.
if you're doing something big, like I mean, I'm not
Yep.
saying my podcast is big, but you do a podcast and it's like broadcasting to the masses and hopefully someone will get something that
Yeah.
will
A
take them
nugget.
in a direction,
Yep.
but it's not the answer, right? None
Right.
of
It's not
it.
going to help you embody
Yeah.
the work.
I
Yep.
love that. Beautiful.
Mm.
Okay.
So good, Tracie.
So we're going to make sure that everyone can find you, all of the links and all of those things. And before I want to leave you with the last word, but before we do that, I just want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Because we've been looking forward to this for like a month or something on the calendar, off and on. And I knew that this was going to be such a fun conversation because every time I'm with you, I am like extra juice to go like have an impact, which is
thanks,
super
Tracie.
fun. And I appreciate that. And you're welcome, but also thank you. I do want to leave you with the final word. Like any last words?
Oh my gosh. Find your mirrors. I had to use my husband this morning to be a mirror for me. I woke up not feeling it. I woke up down and doubting myself, and I knew who to go to for support. Find your mirrors and use them.
And
so you can remember who.
And hopefully they're easily accessible.
Right. But, whether it's a coach, a therapist, a friend, like find, even if it's one or two people, find those people and allow yourself to be vulnerable enough. Because in my opinion, vulnerable is strength. Be vulnerable enough to say, hey, I could use a bit of a boost. Hey, can you help me remember who the F I am?
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jen Vertanen. I'm saying it again so everyone knows how to say your name.
Yeah, you got it right.
Jen Vertanen. Thank you for being on the podcast. I appreciate you. And I am so inspired by you. And
thank you, Tracie.
I'm so glad that we're connected. Thank you again.
Well, and ditto. I can't wait to turn the tables and have you on.
Soon. Thank you for listening to the Bold and Brilliant podcast. I'm your host, Tracie Root, and I want to invite you to check out the show notes, find out where you can connect with our guests, find out more about what I and the Gather community have to offer you, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Thanks so much.